Orphan First Kill is directed by William Brent Bell and stars Isabel Fuhrman, Julia Stiles, among others. And this story is the prequel set before the events of the first Orphan film that came out in 2009. And this story deals with the girl Esther, who is essentially going through the events that took place in her early life before the first movie, where she's going through her real family. Now, leave that in quotes, not going to make any spoilers. And essentially, if you've seen in the trailers, stuff goes down where she's essentially causing chaos. And I'll leave it there because some stuff I can't get into without spoilers. Now, here's a little backstory. This movie was directed by William Brent Bell, who I've seen only a few films with the guy. He's kind of been hit and miss when it comes to movies, because back in 2006 he did a movie called Stay Alive, which I really did enjoy. I thought it was a good, underrated kind of flick, but I did notice that it was a film that was a lot better when I watched it under the unrated version, because it cut out a lot of stuff when it was released in theaters. It was the movie about the video game that terrorizes people and stuff. Then he later did a movie called The Devil Inside, which was a found footage movie that has one of the worst endings I ever seen in my life. And then he also did a movie called The Boy, which came out in 2016, which I remember liking that one, but it definitely had its issues. Oh, this is my cousin's dog, Ripley, by the way. And then he also did the other one that came out a couple years ago called Brahms, The Boy 2. So the movie... The director has been hit and miss, but with this one it got me interested because I never really saw much of the first movie, but I saw pieces of it, and from what I've seen of the first one, it kind of made me curious what they were going to do with it, because in the first movie I did enjoy the performance of the girl who played her as the Esther in the first one, because she brought that kind of like very creepy vibe to it, and so seeing a whole like prequel going into it kind of blindly made me kind of curious. And by the way, this is my cousin-in-law, Lance, by the way. He's joined me as a guest spot.
Hello.
And he's actually seen the first one. And
yes, sir.
What did you think of the first one?
I like the first one a lot. The first one was pretty awesome. Kills, pretty cool. But, I mean, the brutal part about it was a little kid.
Well, yeah, because they were...
And, that's what we thought.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
the first one.
Yeah, because the first one, those who haven't seen it, they actually did have a big twist that can't really go into spoilers with, but if you've seen the first one, you kind of know into this one going into how it's going to play out. But yeah, going into it, that was what got me kind of curious, because kind of going in knowing that I knew the twist in the first one, it just kind of made me wonder going into like seeing how the prequel would turn out before the first movie. And so after upon seeing the film, I can say that the movie's decent, but I mean, I keep in mind I never really watched much of I didn't really see all the first one, but I can say that it definitely has its issues quite a bit in this one. But as like a kind of fun, kind of slasher kind of movie to watch, just if I really want to be in the mood to like watch on during the time of Halloween or something. Yeah, this is definitely one I can at least pop in if I really just want to get more out of seeing this character from the first movie. Yeah.
Halloween movie.
And so, getting to my pros, I'll say that the girl that plays her, Isabel Fuhrman, she does a great job in this. They did actually do something that was I'm kind of mixed with to an extent. Like, they made it to where because you got to think she got older since the first movie. They made it to where they use a lot more practical effects of making her look younger than what she looked like she was in the first film, because she's now 25. And I thought that for the most part, they did make it work to its advantage, but there are some scenes where you could tell she looked like she very aged quite a bit.
Yeah, that was my big hang up with the movie was, seeing the first one. The first one, she looked like a little girl.
Well, she was.
She looked like a little girl. She was much younger in the first film. A little bit, the actress, that is, a little bit older in this film, which is, it's almost kind of hard to buy from somebody who's seen the movie, the original movie, the first one. Little hard to swallow on this one, honestly. Because she looks older. I mean, they didn't do that great of special effects. For me, they didn't do enough. They should have done a lot more, making her look younger, because she looks old.
Yeah, I can give that in certain scenes, yes, because there are certain shots where like has some close-ups where you can tell it's like, ooh man, it's like they want to hide the fact that she looks older, but it's like if they would have used, I think they would have went with the Irishman approach where they made the actors more de-aged, because we're beginning that kind of trend now where movies like The Irishman, what's it, The Mandalorian, things like that, where they're able to de-age actors very well and blend it in very well. With this one, because they want to go practical effects, I commend them for not wanting to use CGI, and that's one of the other things I'll say. But the fact that they didn't use it on that approach, it gives it that kind of very off-putting where you don't buy it in certain scenes.
Yeah,
and there actually are other shots where you can tell where they have like inserts where, because she is taller now, where they have like shots of a little girl walking around and stuff. So I get why they want to cleverly hide it in certain scenes, but it comes across as like you're just watching like, man, if only this movie would have come out like a couple years after the first one, because it's been like what, 13 years, I think.
It's been a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw that many years ago.
Yeah,
the original.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but her performance in this, I still thought was good. The fact that she was able to get that kind of very creepy vibe, you know, her fucking with people too, kind of like being smart ass.
She definitely gave a creepy vibe.
Yeah,
all that was still there, but the big hang up is the age thing.
Yeah, it is. And then also, one of the other pros I'll give to is I like Julia Stiles. I thought she was good in this, and it was good seeing her after a long time because the last thing I even seen her in, I think, was the last Bourne movie that came out in 2016.
Almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, I forgot that was even her because, well, man, I'm so used to how she used to look like, but she's aged more now, and she just has that kind of like older look to her now, and she still looks good, and she brings something that I think was interesting toward like the middle of the film that, I'm not going to spoilers, but it did actually have a good, it's something that actually got to me.
Oh yeah.
In that regard. But I'll leave it there because again, it's not, can't go into spoilers. The other performances are too, the rest of the cast are fine. I mean, they don't really stand out as much, though it is interesting seeing that a guy who's in this is one of the Sutherland brothers, who's actually the half brother of Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool.
Didn't know that until he.
Yeah, and apparently he's the brother of Angus Sutherland, who was, funny enough, in one of the direct-to-video Lost Boys sequels, played the main villain in that one. So I thought that was kind of cool that we have a Sutherland playing in a movie like this. You know, and the rest of the movie, the way it's shot into, there are some pretty great cinematography in certain scenes, especially parts where she's like painting the dad and stuff, and she's trying to, you know, see what he looks like when he's painting. And
yeah,
they use like a good like light, a black light that turns.
Yeah, they do a lot of really rad stuff with that scene. And you know, a lot of you know, artsy effects, but also a lot of symbolism. A lot of symbolism with it. They show a painting of the dad. Well, the dad's painting, but he's using black light effects, right? So he'll, you know, normal light, right? He'll be painting. You'll see an image. Kick off black light. Hold another image will appear behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. I like the way that they gave that.
Yeah, a lot of really cool symbolism with that and how it ties into the film.
Well, that, and also what I really cool too is I like the whole kind of like there are certain pieces in the film that kind of have that very disturbing kind of vibe. Like there's a part where, not gonna go into detail, but let's just say there's a part where, like you see in this right where she's walking through like a fire and stuff. And it kind of gave me Joker vibes where she's basically exploring the madness.
Yeah.
I like that vibe because that works for her character, and that, so you kind of get that kind of feeling that I do enjoy. And so seeing her just kind of nonchalantly just going through shit, and after she's killed somebody, I like that vibe that they go for because it shows how much fucked up she is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the movie is pretty straightforward. It does actually have some cool things that tie in, I think, to the first one too, like from what I saw in the first one, and they do it to its advantage to where you're still getting the vibe of the early starter. However, that's where I kind of shifted into more of my cons, to where the movie doesn't really give us much of a really to fill in a lot of stuff from the first movie, from what I've heard, because in this one, all she's really doing is she's basically spending time with the family and stuff, and then eventually, like I said, there's some stuff that goes down, but it is pretty straightforward to where they don't really add a whole lot, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Is that true? Because
there's not really a whole lot of story added from this one, honestly. I mean, they're stretching to do a prequel here.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's basically like, okay, you see how she was in the asylum. That's where I thought the movie was going to kind of maybe do its run, because in the beginning of the film, where it has her in like the asylum, I figured that maybe they would spend more time there kind of building up to that, because that would have made a more interesting film, like being able to show her like how she got fucked up she is in the asylum and stuff, how she got there and everything. I think if they would have really pulled more of that, we could have really seen a lot more of like where she came from.
Yeah.
But because they kind of rushed that in the beginning and all that, you're getting more of kind of what I've heard from the first movie again, to its advantage. Other than that midway point that I won't spoil.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I will say too is that, well, there is some actually unintentional hilarious stuff that I didn't really see coming. Like, there's a death scene that happens where one character actually has it to where they say a line, and the way it comes across, it just became so funny. I don't know why I just had to laugh at that when this person was getting killed. I was like, that just made me fucking laugh all of a sudden. The way this character just says, "Oh shit." Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that was intentional or what, but that actually gave me a laugh. And like we were saying earlier, the special effects, they could have worked a lot better with making her de-aged and stuff. And also there's some, well, again, going into the whole fire thing I was talking about earlier, the only downside with that is really badly CGI with the fucking fire they show.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell they got affected by the budget of the movie. Obviously, they couldn't set a real house on fire.
Oh, yeah, I know. But I mean, it just seems more common now that you're seeing, like, you know, actual CGI fire than actually, you know, using practical effects. Like miniatures and stuff that you would see, like, in the old days. Yeah. I wish they were bringing that shit back, you know. Yeah. But I get it, you know. But it's one of those things, too, where it's like, these other characters, other than Julia Stiles and like Esther, rest of the main characters, there are characters in this film that you're really just waiting for her to fucking kill off, because they're like nails on a chalkboard bad in certain scenes, especially that brother character.
Yeah, I mean, you know, which is kind of insulting to the audience that they're like.
Yeah, they're meant to. You're wanting to hate just to see them killed off, and I know that that's common a lot in slasher films, like for a long time, but. Back in the day, I think when they used to make slasher films that were, you know, at least in the early days, they at least had characters that weren't in that kind of unlikable level. Well, I think that didn't actually really start until like the fucking early 2000s.
Well, I mean, if it was marketed as a slasher film, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But it's not marketed that way. It's marketed as a psychological thriller.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and horror too, obviously. But
right.
You know, to be kind of blunt with how they present the characters that they're going to kill off.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's kind of insulting to a thoughtful audience.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, there are movies that can still work that you don't necessarily have to have likable characters, but these are ones that you're waiting for the killer to fucking kill them. That has happened a lot of movies where you're rooting for the killer.
Yeah. And
so you get that vibe here, but it's just, you know, it's like you want it to happen. But other than that, though, I mean, there's really not much else I can really say about it. But other than the fact that, you know, the movie was a decent watch, it has its issues on a lot of stuff that's also convenient too. That was my biggest con, is the fact that a lot throughout the movie, Esther does seem to get away with a lot of shit that she would easily get fucking pulled out, like getting caught with.
Yeah.
You know, it's because it's
like the escape from the asylum.
Yeah, that was just that beginning was really throwing me off. I was like, ain't no fucking way she would escape that easily.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, if you've seen the first one or you have any kind of backstory with this new one, the prequel, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, she's an old person trapped in a young person's body.
Right.
And you know, some of the kills in the asylum are like, okay, you know, obviously she's smart. You know, she has the brains of an older person, but she's not going to overpower.
Right.
You know, a 200-pound guard.
Right, exactly.
Which is kind of what they present.
There's ever seen, you know, kind of doing suspension of disbelief like that, and then just very illogical. Mm-hmm. I think that was just more illogical, because I'm like, okay, I really can't really buy that, even in a kind of a dumb kind of slasher film. Yeah. I can't really buy that shit.
Well, it's not Jason.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, I get that it's more of taking it more. It's a grounded sort of approach that they were trying to go to.
They're trying to present Esther as kind of an intelligent,
right?
Yeah, an intelligent older person in a younger person's body, but they're all, you know, the way she escapes from the asylum is almost like an 80s slasher film.
Well, yeah,
where people don't know any different.
And that's what I'm saying. So that right there, it just really takes it. It strays the line way too far from being able to like really go with it, and then just being like, yeah, that would never happen. Mm-hmm. But overall, though, I'll say that ever since I've seen this one, it makes me do want to go check out the first one again. And so I will say that it was a decent time, but it could have been a whole lot better, but it wasn't bad. I give this one just since I'm going by my average ratings. I go with I'll just go with more of a average Joe on the Film Freaks meter for me on this. What kind of rating would you give it?
Well, I mean,
Well,
I don't know. I don't know your scale, but
like a what?
yeah,
Like from a
if
scale
we're going,
10 or something,
1 out of
or
10.
like letters.
1 out of 10, I'm giving it 4.5.
I got you.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Well, what other issues did you have with it?
Yeah, my major hang up was they tried to make a prequel with a star that was much older,
Right.
and they didn't de-age her. They didn't de-age her more than they de-aged her in what was the quote-unquote sequel.
Right.
The first film. This is a prequel to the first film. She should look younger.
Right.
And
well, there's
the
also
actor doesn't, or the actress, I should say, I'm sorry. The actress doesn't look younger. The actress looks older.
Right. Yeah, that's the
And it's just a hard pill to swallow for me.
Then I can also see some of the other issues because I will say too that some of the pacing is another complaint I have where it does feel like it kind of slows down quite a bit in that first half where you're starting to get to know the family stuff and it does wind down quite a bit when you're just kind of they're kind of just lurking around and they also have this kind of like there's characters that are pieced together stuff, but I mean now like I said there's a part in the beginning that also kind of throws me off as well where the family is supposed to essentially, well, this is kind of a minor spoiler for those of you who are curious. It's kind of just a minor thing. Basically, the family is trying to be so belligerent in the fact that they can't recognize her daughter. They're the daughter of this. And so I'm piecing together like this, like that, and then up until the reveal in the middle half is where I had my other issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of issues the movie does have that holds it back, and I'm sure coming from the first movie that it seemed like the script was a lot more tighter in the first one, where you're at least going with the longevity was a lot more there, and you were still able to see a lot of things more a lot more cohesive.
Yeah, well, the whole thing with the first one is, you have the big reveal at the end, and this prequel is supposed to go back and tell the story, which leads you up to that.
But it's like,
and it's really, it's almost like it's a money grab to me. Like they really don't tell a story about how she came to be. It's really generic, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, because it seems like they didn't really fill in a lot more stuff that you were kind of expecting.
Yeah, like I don't know.
In a good comparison, I think would be like, for those of you who have seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning from 2006. That one was trying to basically do a whole killer backstory and trying to make it, fill in the gaps from the first movie, from the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But the problem with that one was that we really didn't learn much anything new, other than the more than what we knew from the first one.
Yeah. So
I could see the issues with this one where it's like, okay, you're seeing more of where she came from, but it's like, you're really not getting much out of it, so to speak.
But I'll take it back to like an older one, a film that a lot of people hate, but Scream 3. Scream 3, a lot of people don't like that very much, but it gave a really good prequel story to how everybody got to where everybody was.
Yeah.
And this one, which is supposed to be a prequel, which was intended to be a prequel, Scream 3 wasn't intended, obviously.
Well, Scream 3 kind of filled in some gaps.
Yeah, it filled in a lot of gaps.
But it was still a sequel, it filled in like, it ties back to the first one.
Right, and this one, which is supposed to be a prequel, doesn't really cut the mustard, doesn't really tell a whole lot about how she became to be what she became to be, other than that she was in an asylum.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah. And they kind of already spill out the whole, like, just a quick backstory at the beginning, and then that's it. Like, there's really nothing to really fill in with that. But with that being said, I will still say that the movie it's still watchable, but it's definitely one I can say it's one of the most, it's still one it just makes you really want to just go watch the first one. And so, for those of you who have also seen Orphan First Kill, and also the first Orphan movie, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.
Yeah.
I'll see you there.